I'd like to begin with a fact, a simple yet shocking fact. It is this: a flood tide of filth is engulfing our country in the form of obscenity and is threatening to pervert an entire generation of our American children. We know that once a person is perverted, it is practically impossible for that person to adjust to normal attitudes in regard to sex. Yet much of this material has been described as an illustrated abnormal sex, crime, and violence. Now, you might ask yourself, why this sudden concern? Sex deviation have always been with mankind. This is true. But now, consider another fact. Never in the history of the world have the merchants of obscenity, the teachers of unnatural sex acts, had available to them the modern facilities for disseminating this filth, vilest obscenity within reach of every man, woman, and child in the country. In the past few years, this obscenity traffic continues to increase and flourish for one reason. It is big business, profitable business for the mercenary persons who produce it. The United States Supreme Court has described it as dirt for dirt's sake. Today's youth can be stimulated to sexual activity for which he has no legitimate outlet. The psychiatric terms for these unnatural sex acts are unknown to most decent adults in our country. But through this salacious material, these abnormalities are corrupting the minds and the hearts of our children. They constantly portray abnormal sexual behavior as being normal. They glorify unnatural sex acts. They tell youngsters that it's smart, it's thrilling, it provides kicks. The Military Chaplains Association of the United States, practically every major fraternal, civic, and religious organization, the juvenile court judges, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, innumerable psychiatrists, sociologists, and psychologists attribute the moral decay among our people in very large part to the obscene so prevalent in our society. This moral decay weakens our resistance. A major factor that makes youngsters prime is the natural curiosity of youth about the mysterious force of sex, which can wreck them for life. But at this point, my friends, I wish to make it clear that the obscenity I'm talking about, the nakedness, the nudity, is defended and foisted upon the people by a vociferous minority in our society. They lack the moral standards and values of our Judeo-Christian heritage. They not only oppose the principles of that heritage, which has given us our rich institutions and laws, but they advocate their overthrow. The composite picture here speaks for itself. This type of aberration is usually depicted by showing several persons, and thus the grotesque costuming and all the rest. A sort of human zoo inhabited by raped, mutilated, and murdered females, and by he-males outmatching in bestiality cavemen and outlusting the lustiest of animals. Every arrest and prosecution, every conviction is a step in the education of the public to the solution of the problem. Remember, the law is your weapon. Fifth, write letters of commendation to police, prosecutors, other public officials, and shown you today that a moral decay is spreading through our country and our society.